Hello everyone, and let's do a book review. This one will be for a collection of short stories. I've got the information here. So this one is a collection of short horror stories, and the title of this book is called Books of Blood. Now there are multiple volumes. I'm only going to be referencing volume 1. Now the edition that I have, I no longer have because it was a library book and it was due back to the library. So I'll tell you what I have written down. There will be an image. In fact, I'll scoot over just so the image can be seen a little bit better. So, volume 1 of Books of Blood was, I don't have the author's name written down. This was originally published in 1984. Now, this, I'm just going to my Goodreads and I'm going to pull up, I want to say it's Clive Barker. Where's, yes, Clive Barker. Now, the edition that I had from the library had a stamp. There was an image printed on it where it's like a Hulu original. So this is adapted. Now, I did not watch this. I don't know if it's still on Hulu or not, but I just really wasn't interested in looking into that. So there are 6 volumes in this particular series, Books of Blood. So volume 1 is what I'm going to be talking about. I did listen to the audiobook. The audiobook was fine. I think the audiobook did not really increase enjoyment of the book. I think I would have been fine to read it physically by itself, but it was nice to hear it told to me. Could take it or leave it. Now, the audiobook does have various narrators, a different narrator per short story. So the narrators, Simon Vance, Dick Hill, Peter Burkrot, Jeffrey Kafer, Chet Williamson, and Chris Patton, I'm guessing is how those are said. The audiobook on standard one-time speed is 6 hours and 51 minutes. This was published by Berkeley, at least the edition. It says it's a Berkeley Media tie-in, and it looks like there's a couple of different publishers listed. Looks like in 1986 it was Berkeley Books. In 2013 it was Crossroads Press. Obviously, with it being a different language, it's been translated to English, to Spanish. The only reason because I know that libros is books, and that is La Factoria de Ideas. Berkeley, here's a language it says it's Italian. Bompiani. There's a Greek edition translation. I have no idea how to pronounce the Greek word, but obviously that's a different publisher. Same thing with Bulgarian, Portuguese, Sphere Books for another English edition, as well as Subterranean Press, another Italian, don't know how to say that one. So there's several different publishers involved in this particular book. So again, this was originally published in 1984. So with this being short stories, there's really not a lot I can tell you. So I did try to kind of write down a couple of key things you should know about each story so that you know if there's one that you need to skip or if you need to skip this book entirely as a whole, if it is not going to be one that piques your interest or is going to be particularly bothersome to you. Story number 1 is The Book of Blood. This one has talk of how there's communication with the dead, that you have people who lie, there are secrets that are being kept, and secrets being found, and it does all tie back to an actual book of blood. You have talk of masturbation in this, and I do believe this one actually does, if I remember right, this actually gets pretty explicit with the description of the masturbation. You do see it on the page. As far as words that are said in this particular book, you have damn mentioned 3 times, hell once, God twice, and the word rape once. But it does not, it's just like someone could have been raped, or there's a possibility of it, or something like that. I don't recall that being, now I read it just last month, and nothing is standing out for that. So, okay, now personally, I gave that particular short story a 2-star. It was not my favorite. Did I even rate all the other ones? I know I have this next one rated. Yeah, 2 stars, 3 stars. So, okay. I think overall I ended up giving this one 3 stars. It was fine. As far as overall 3-star for the entire book. Moving on to story number 2. Again, there's only 6, so we're going to go through this pretty quick. Story number 2 is called The Midnight Meat Train, and this is the story that personally stands out to me the most out of the entire collection of short stories. I ended up with 3 stars for this one. Things to be aware of. For this one, it does get explicit when it comes to gore and body dismemberment. So body type horror stuff. So you do have that body horror. You also have anti-Semitism or anti-Jewish talk in this. You have cannibalism. There is a little bit of cannibalism in this. You also have reference to a serial killer that is wreaking havoc in this town. If I remember right, it was New York, I want to say. So yeah, you have some creatures that you find out about as well. So as far as words to be aware of, you have the word suicide once, rape twice, shit 5 times, bastard 3, fuck 14, the name Jehovah twice, testicles once, ass once. The word bloody is in here twice. Think of it more as a swear word from another country. That's the reference, because otherwise if they would have just said the clothes are bloody or there were bloody marks on the wall, I would not have counted that. The name Christ is in here twice. Damn once, penis once, the name Jesus once, and God once. Moving on, story number 3 is called The Yattering and Jack. Honestly, this one for me was evidently forgettable because I do not remember what this particular short story was about. All I can tell you is you do have talk of suicide, demons, you have animal death, haunting, and lesbianism in this. And I believe if I do remember right, it was done in a negative way. So homophobia, I'm thinking. Couldn't tell you for sure, but let's go ahead and talk about the words. In short story number 3, you have shit 3 times, damn 7, hell 6, balls once, screwing once, the term suicide once, bastard twice, the name Christ 3 times, the name God twice, Jesus once, the word orgy comes up once, and son of a bitch once. Okay? Moving on, you have Pig Blood Blues. This one I actually did enjoy a little bit more. I ended up giving this particular one 3 stars. You do have body horror in this, and it's more juvenile body horror, so do keep this in mind. You have another trigger is not cannibalism, because in this particular case, well, is cannibalism in this? I don't really recall. I want to say there was, but definitely like an animal eating a human, okay? So you do have that in there. So if that's bothersome, obviously skip this one. For this one, you have this guy who is an ex-police officer that goes to kind of like a juvenile detention center. They call him Pig. And he's trying to get some respect. He learns that people are hiding things from him and tell him, oh, don't worry about that. It's covered. Don't worry about that. And he's, pretty concerned about that. And that's definitely one that's better to learn as you go in this. So that's all I'm going to say about that particular one. And these are definitely short. They're like 20 pages or less, maybe 50 pages at the most. So these are actually really short stories. So as far as the words, you have balls once, suicide twice, breast once, bastard once. Oh, another thing to be aware of in this one, you have pedophilia alluded to in this. It doesn't go into a lot of details, but it is definitely alluded to. Okay, be aware of that. Continuing on with the words and the counts, you have damn 4 times, bitch once, shit twice, the name Christ once, bloody twice, hell twice, fuck 6 times, the name God 5, the term masturbate once, and the name Jesus once. Moving on, we have sex, death, and starshine. Again, for me personally, this one was a bit forgettable. I think overall, I do want to say overall, I don't remember what I gave this book. Did I give it a 3? I think with going back and looking at these ratings and the fact that a lot of this is forgettable to me, I'm going to lower it. I ended up giving it a 2-star overall. Mostly because of those 2 3-star reads that I actually thought were rather enjoyable, but everything else was definitely forgettable. So 2 standout stories, the rest forgettable for me. So we're talking about short story number 5, Sex, Death, and Starshine. Now, as I said, there was a different narrator per book. I don't know which narrator narrated what story, so I'm sorry about that. For this one, I can't tell you about it because, again, for me, it was forgettable, so I don't really remember. But you do have anti-Semitism or anti-Jewish talk. You have talk of breast cancer. Oh, this one takes place in a theater. I have the word theater. I'm like, going, what the heck is going on with the word theater? The mail is here. You're going to hear the dogs barking. So another trigger warning for some people is that this does have an affair in the book, and that can be a hard pass for some people. So there is an affair in this, and it does talk about it quite a bit. And it does get sexually explicit for this one. So you have the phrase down on going once. Oh, and this one is like a vampire. I do remember that. This one's a vampire short story. The term God 19 times, Jesus 3, the word fuck 8, bloody twice, shit 3 times, piss twice, damn 5, bastard twice, breasts twice, nipples once, rape once, hell once, screw once, came once, member once, all part of sexual terms, erection once, and then the following words are all once as well, and that's head, balls, and bitch. So now that I've finally read my handwriting and saw the word theater, I do remember this is a vampire one. Okay, moving on to the last story of this book. I'm sorry I can't give you more information. Again, especially with this being short stories, it's very easy to go into spoilers, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so this last story is called In the Hills, the Cities. This one, in my personal opinion, was the worst story of the collection. And I don't remember why. I've completely forgotten what this is about. All I have is it is gory and has body horror, which is stuff that I normally really like, but evidently it wasn't done enough to pique my interest on this. You do have suicide is described in this particular book, so it does get descriptive. And I do have that this has LGBT rep in book 1. And there is homophobia in this book. Is it in the homophobia in just the last story or throughout that? I don't remember, but I do remember there being homophobia in this. This last story, as I said, there is LGBT rep, and specifically when it comes to a gay relationship. That's just according to the notes that I have. As far as what the actual story is about, completely forgettable to me personally. So again, this is the last story of the book, so the following words are in here. You have the name Jesus 4 times, bastard twice, hell 8, fuck 7, damn once, bloody 3 times, shit twice, the name God 3 times, screw once, orgasm once, blow once, semen once, and the name Christ 4 times. So again, I am sorry I could not tell you more. Again, you don't want to go into a lot of spoilers with horror books because it's best to figure things out. And plus, especially with it being horror short stories, very easy to enter spoiler territory. So let me know, have you read this? Did you like this book? Let me know. I'd be interested, and I'm happy that you liked it if you did. Just not for me. And if you have not read volume 1 of Books of Blood, have you read any of the other volumes? If you've read this one and all the other volumes, is there a volume that you think is better than all the others? So yeah, talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I'll talk to you later.